Okay.
All right. Welcome back to Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. I have a special guest here tonight. I know that you all have seen my introduction of her. She has opted out to use the camera tonight, which is okay because most of you have already seen her. If you saw my introduction as far as introducing her for tonight, she is a retired over 30 years. She was in retail for 24 as a manager with Walmart. Her statement that she believes that every day is a new opportunity to be happy and great. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Miss Adrienne Jackson. Hi, Adrienne. I am so glad you are here to join me tonight. And we're going to talk a little bit about from limited legacy.
Yes, yes, we are. And I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. I really appreciate it. And like you said, my name is Adrienne Jackson, and I am retired. And I have worked in retail for over 30 years. And those 30 years, 24 of those years was at Walmart. Everyone knows Walmart. So, yeah, I was
I know,
there
right?
and working there for, 24 years. So I am glad to be retired. Although I would have worked another year, then retired, but due to situations and life happening, I went on and had to go on and retire. So here I am.
Yes. All right. So I know that you have already read the book from Limited Legacy. And just tell me a little bit about why you felt that this book kind of touched you in certain ways. So we're just gonna let you kind of share, and then we'll just kind of talk about it and go from there.
Okay. Yes, the book, I really must say you did a very awesome job with the book because it really breaks down the what you're going through and what people deal with when you lose someone. And you even talked about situations not just with losing someone, but just changes in life that you have to deal with, life experiences, hardship. So I myself, I have dealt with some hardship, but mostly with this book, it helped me to realize and establish and navigate through the loss that I did experience, and which was really close and dear to me. Although I lost my grandmother too, and that was dear to me. She was very dear to me. And I lost her, but that was different because I was younger then. So I kind of understood. Well, I was a young adult. I kind of understood, but it was like numbness to it.
Hmm.
And because it was to the point that I knew that my grandmother would, go on before me, that she would leave this life before me because she's older than me. So that was to be expected.
Right.
And although sometimes, it might not happen that way, you might end up going before your elder. But in saying that, it happened the way that I, perceived it to happen. She ended up leaving before me and going on to glory. But that situation, I experienced the loss, and that loss was like, how can I put it? It was, I went through it, right? And when I went through it, it was like, okay, that's the routine, so to speak,
Hmm.
because it's expected. So I
Right.
went through that with the routine of this being to be expected, but not really learning from it per se, because I went on with my life. I mourned her and I was saddened by it. And it was like, you know, I got to go on with my life. And so it didn't stagnate me too far behind into where I was, like I can't go on type
Right.
situation.
Right.
It yeah, it just, it happens. I knew it was happening, and I just couldn't, stay there. I have to go on because that's life.
And you really said something that's
Keep going,
very,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very impactful. When you said that you you kind of expected, we all expect our elders to to go on before us. So your mind allows you to feel and think a certain way. It is
Yes.
when it is the opposite that actually throws your life for a shift. And your mind just cannot perceive the fact that, for instance, your brother who
Exactly.
went on before you, so
Exactly.
I can definitely understand the feeling of when mom died opposed to when Terrell died.
Uh-huh.
you know,
Yeah.
because there is a difference in how it impacts you. Because when my
Mm-hmm.
grandson died, it caused a shift in my life and how I felt. But when my
Mm-hmm.
son died, it
Yes.
was a whole total difference. It was like, how can I say this? And I pretty much talked about it in the book. That is when your whole world, everything around you seems no more normal.
Mm-hmm.
Is no norm anymore. So you have to try to start everything all over again.
Yes, yes. And that is true. So in saying that, with my grandmother, yeah, it was, easy to transition into starting, another day because it was expected.
Hmm.
Like you said, yeah, with my brother,
Hmm.
that was unexpected because that loss right there, it just caught me by surprise because it was it was the thing of we hadn't seen him, right? And then he came to visit after, so many years of not seeing him but talking over the phone. And we're close, right?
Right.
So, and it was very, welcoming and very exciting rather when he did come to visit. It was so exciting to
Yes.
see him.
You're looking forward
And
to it. Yeah.
yes, and he was bringing his new baby, right? Because he got married, and it will be the first time we'll see her in person, and we'll see the new baby in person. So it was, yeah, it was really a good trip that he made coming from Key West, Florida, mind you. They drove all the way from Key West, Florida to Georgia. So that was very exciting to see him. But in that excitement, when I did see him, um, I didn't know that I wouldn't see him again. You know,
Right.
I did not know that would be my last time actually seeing him. So that really caught me by surprise because it was like he was here in like a month. He was here, and the following month around Easter, he passed away. So, and it was so shocking to get that phone call that your brother was in the hospital and they said he didn't make it. He passed away. But then, yeah, because mom called me and that was the first thing that I heard about it because it was late at night. And
Right.
I'm like, what the world? I was like, okay, I knew he was in the hospital. I did know so
Hmm.
I did. I knew he was in the hospital. He went to the hospital that day. But I didn't think that it would be that severe that he would not come out of the hospital.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that was a shock. Now, that one right there, I must say, that loss right there, it really took me because it wasn't easy to navigate that
Yeah. Yeah.
because yeah, we were close, and
Hmm.
I had the opportunity to see him a month before and then to hear that he passed. So I was like somewhat numb as to, the fact that he passed. I was kind of like in denial at first that that could not be true. And I was, going through the motions per se.
Yeah, it was
And
stages.
because,
The stages of grief,
yes, yeah,
and that's the crazy part about it is, and I won't say the crazy part about it, it is the mind trying to put it all in some form of
yes,
realization so that you can understand it.
yes.
I had to realize something, and I'm listening to you, and I hear you say that he came and spent time with you.
Right.
So the mind kind of allows you to put things in perspective,
Mm.
because just think about it. Had he passed on and you had not had that opportunity, it would have been worse.
It really would have been. And
Yeah.
that,
Yes.
and you had, you spoke on that in your book, right? How
Right.
you go through the changes.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? At the time, that's exactly what I was going through, because at one point I didn't really know how to accept it, because I had just saw him, you
Exactly.
know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So it was like I have to accept it, because he's not coming back, And
Mhm.
then I think about, okay, I do believe in God, and I think about, you have to realize that what really made me somewhat comforting towards it is the fact that I said, okay, so he had some underlying issues with his health that obviously he knew about, but he didn't know how severe it was, because he's like a man that don't like to go to the hospital and stuff, right?
Right.
So I was like, so God obviously knew of what he was dealing with before any of us, of course, So I said, that's his child. And, our life is really not our own. We are of his children. And he has to say so when it's time for you to come home. So I was like, okay. I say, well, God loved him more than me. He was ready for him to come home, and this world was not for him anymore. So I say, so the illness that he had, which it was kidneys. So that obviously would have been too much of a suffering for him to go to, possibly. You make things up in your head to make you
Yeah.
to
Yeah, you got
to make
you
you,
have to put it
yes,
in
you have
perspective.
to, yeah,
And
to try
yeah,
to put,
in
yeah,
order to cope with it.
yes,
And I talk about that because if you don't find some kind of understanding, and we often hear people tell you, and this is one thing that when I talked about after Raymond died, and I will go to work, and people will say to me, oh my God, what happened? So now I'm reliving
uh-huh,
it over again.
yes,
And I've already kind of came to some kind of, you know,
acceptance and
something in my mind is telling me, okay, you're gonna be okay.
yeah,
Like you said, you give it to God, you have this faith. And that's why I say when you turn your pain into purpose.
mm-hmm,
When you
yep,
get to that point where you now have started to put these things in perspective, number one, denial.
uh-huh,
You
uh-huh,
start there
right,
because your mind cannot fathom that this person is gone permanently, forever.
exactly,
You're like, no, 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 because I'm like, God, I prayed and I asked you to please let him be all right. And I'm
yes,
coming from one hospital with my brother to a hospital where my son. I'm like,
right,
no, God,
mm-hmm,
I prayed to you.
exactly,
So now I'm like, no. no, no, no. You
Mhm.
know, I know Raymond's going. When I get there, Raymond's going to be okay. I don't care what
Right.
nobody say. You know,
Mhm.
even when the doctor trying to tell me, I'm like, yeah, I hear y'all. But you know, until I walked in there and I saw him lying there, and I was
Yeah.
like, wow,
Yeah. And then even though you saw it, um, I mean, still, what you felt in that moment, even though you saw him, it still was something that was, kind of like I got to accept it because I see it.
hmm
But I didn't see Terrell, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't see him.
yeah,
So I had to accept it because I saw him in the casket,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? And even still, I was like, okay, my brother is gone. I can't believe it. He's actually gone. I won't hear the phone call.
yeah,
I won't be able to talk to him when I want to talk to him.
yeah,
I won't hear him say, baby girl, what's up with you?
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm like, this is serious. This is really serious. It's a lot to take. I can't believe that is happening. But like I said, I had to cope with it and I had to figure out ways to cope with it, even though I had my faith. But, it's on shaky grounds because I'm like, I've lost my brother.
right,
I
right,
do
yeah.
still have my faith. So I have to
Because you still
piggyback on
feel
it with
human. You still got
the
those
faith of
feelings.
God and
Yeah,
then think about like I lost my brother, but I gotta believe in you because you created us. So this is what has to happen. We all have to leave this earth. So
right.
I'm like, but even though he left so soon,
hmm
it was still like it has to be done. So I flip flop back and forth, with coping with it and running the thoughts through my head. And you talk to God and stuff, and you accept it, but you still be doubtful. But you have to still piggyback and dig deep with the faith. Oh my goodness, you really have to.
hmm
And I see through you that what you wrote in the book that yes, you had to lean on it. And that is true
Yeah.
because it's not going to be easy without it.
And you're still gonna go through the process because you got to understand. My son hasn't been dead no more than 7 months, so even though I wrote this book that was helping me to heal,
Yes.
right? By me expressing, it was almost like journaling,
Yes, it was.
and
That's how it reads. Easy.
yeah, you can tell, right? It was almost like
Mhm.
journaling, and I'm sharing. I shared with you all my pain,
Mhm.
and in the process of that, it was allowing me to accept it, you know, because
Right.
I done went from denial. Now I got to try to get into an area of acceptance because he's not going to walk back in this door.
Right.
So now my mind has to put it in a form for me to cope and me to function.
Yes.
Because at first I'm like, okay, now how am I going to, what is my life going to be like without him?
Mhm.
The dependence on my son, I can't call him like you said, he can't call you and call you baby girl and y'all talk about things y'all normally talk about. I
Right.
can't call him because he was close to me.
Exactly.
And everybody that knew me and my son knew that we were close. Till
Exactly.
his girl
Very.
used to call him babies. He was a mama's boy. You
Mama's
know,
boy.
I didn't care about that because I knew my man, my man. I knew my son was a man that
Yes, he
knew
was.
who he was. You know
Yes,
what I'm
he
saying?
was.
And the crazy part about that is that after I left from denial,
Mhm.
now I'm trying to figure it out. Just like you
Mhm.
said, you're all over the place because now you're trying to figure it out. What we want to do is we want to make it. We want to find some way to make it fit in our minds on, because
Mhm.
you like, no, this, I, you're questioning God. Why?
Mhm.
You know, I know he was going through some things, but I felt like he could have turned it around. You know,
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
but then you said something earlier that made me also the same thought I had was I don't know how and what this suffering was. We don't know that.
Right.
We
Right.
don't know if he was ready to go, if he
Right.
was tired.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
we don't know in those things. So now I'm trying to put that in perspective.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know how he felt. I don't know what he felt. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe he didn't want to keep trying to go back and forth to the hospital. Maybe he didn't want to have to go back and get fluid taken off his body. Maybe he didn't, maybe. And then
Yes.
you go from that to the blaming stage.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm blaming the hospitals, I'm blaming the doctors, I'm blaming everybody, like you all knew my son was going through this. Why you all didn't do this? You know,
Uh-huh.
why y'all didn't do that? Why, I
Yeah.
want to know why.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You do go through that because, I mean, even with my brother, when he was admitted to the hospital, mind you, his wife took him because she left work because she told him to go to the hospital and she said, "You don't look good." And he didn't. He was trying to go to work that day. And for some reason, she left work early because she had this bad feeling. And when she got there, she saw him and she was like, I'm taking you to the emergency room because he had jaundice in his eyes.
Oh,
And so she took him to the emergency room. And that right there, which he had sleep apnea, so he couldn't lay down. Okay, he couldn't lay down to
same thing you're
sleep.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh, right? And see, and I didn't know he had it. But is just the principle of reading your book. I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I didn't know he had it too. So, but however, back to him. He had to go to the hospital. She took him to the emergency room. And she took him to the emergency room. And that's exactly what they found out he had a enlarged kidney, but they lost him on the table though. But yeah, so he had a very enlarged kidney, and that's what really took him out right there. And besides, him having the sleep apnea too, so that was another thing during the whole procedure. But
Yeah,
however, yeah, through reading your book, the common thing and the common factor that I saw, I was like, oh, I say that was just like my brother. He could not lay down and go to sleep. And his wife told us that. We didn't even know that. And I'm like, what? So
yeah,
it's just the things, yeah, the things that you don't know and you end up finding out after the fact. So I was like, that's right there too. He probably, was tired.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Because I could be in my bedroom and he could be in his bedroom and I could hear him snore. And
and
I could hear him like like he'll, stop breathing.
that's,
He'll wake up and
yes,
start talking.
yes, he
And
got to catch his breath.
and that
Yes.
was the blaming part where I was like, see, if these people had got this machine for him, all they talking
Mm-hmm.
about the cost, and he was going through the disability thing, and it was
That
denied three
CPAP,
times,
right?
and
Mm-hmm.
now he finally gets a lawyer, and by the time he gets a lawyer, and my son said to me, Mom, I
Mm-hmm.
will be dead before these people get me this. I said, no, son, no, you won't.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not going to even think like that.
Yes, yeah. It is, it's the whole common factor of you dealing with your son and my brother, like they had similar things that they were dealing with because he Navy vet, and that's the thing that they discovered he had the sleep apnea while he was in the Navy, so it was weird as to why out of all this
They
time.
never that. tried to treat him for it all that time.
Yes. Yes, all this time. He never got treatment for it. And so, and to end up, leaving this earth and still have that. And I'm just wondering, like, how is that possible
Yeah.
that, yeah, you
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
able to get the treatment? Like, it's weird
And a
how things
serviceman,
happen.
you think everything that he need would have been right there for
Yeah,
him.
right there
Raymond
because
was unemployed.
military.
He was an entrepreneur, had his own business, had window installation business. When
Yeah.
that went away, that was it for him. Even though he still
Mhm.
tried to do, odd jobs
Yeah.
here and there, but the business that he loved and he done for many, many years, then he started by cutting hair because he was a master barber. So he was still trying to make money to live and to do the things he had to do as a man. And it's just so ironic because when I think back, and it's just amazing because your mind don't want to accept any of those things when you're in the storm, right?
Mhm.
It is
Right.
when you start to see the light that you start to your mind start to open up, and now you
Mhm.
kind of start putting things like, oh, okay, that's why this happened. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know
You
what?
just, yeah.
That's
That's
why
true.
that happened.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's just how we have to just keep understanding. That's
Mhm.
why I said, uh when I went from denial to acceptance to
Mhm.
just trying to put it in perspective in my mind, and I had to accept the fact that my son was gone, and this pain and this void wasn't going to go
Right.
anywhere.
Uh-huh. That's true.
So it turned into purpose.
Yes, I know. But the thing too that I noticed while reading your book is that where it's just expressed on what's this page 25 about embracing the vulnerability without losing strength, right? Let me read something from there.
Okay.
One of the most misunderstood parts of strength is vulnerability. I learned that being strong does not mean being unaffected. It means being honest while still standing. And I'm continually fighting to gain enough strength to feel whole again. So, that right there, I was like, oh my God. I
Yeah.
say, so that's exactly how you feel, at least how I felt,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, when you lose someone, it is so affecting and it is such a void. And I was like, oh my God, that is so to the point. I couldn't explain it any better. I was like, I say, wow. Because, you can't put it into words. You just know it's a loss,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
I was
and
like, oh,
that's when you're being honest with yourself. That's when you
yeah.
have to come to that reflection part,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
You just gotta accept it. I'm hurting. I don't know what to do with this pain. What
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? What God, what do I do with this?
Oh my,
Because
my,
it
my,
is a
my.
feeling that I've never ever experienced. Even though
Yes.
I experienced the death of my grandson, which was
Mm-hmm.
my
Right.
baby.
Yep.
My mom, I
Exactly.
said, if my mom died, you might as well bury me right, in there, and
Right.
right there with her.
Mm-hmm.
If my dad died, which I was my a daddy's girl, so all those times
Yes.
I experienced those pain,
Mm-hmm.
I felt that it was pain, it was hurt,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yes.
I had to move forward, but
Mm-hmm.
each loss affected me differently, because
Right.
every loss I experienced, I had to figure out how I'm gonna live.
Yeah. To continue. To go on.
Because I got to move on. So that's why I talk
Yes.
about the effect of this pain.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to move on without calling
Exactly.
my mom? Then when my
Exactly.
dad died, because my mom died first, so now I'm an orphan.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, I am an orphan. So it's like, okay, Lord, what do I do?
Yeah, right,
I have no parent, or anything.
right.
So you just try to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
then
just
who would have thought? I wouldn't expect it, for my son to go
yes.
before me, just like you said,
Hmm.
when your grandmother, died,
Yes.
you knew she was older, she had gone, she was
Hmm.
sick, and
Hmm.
you people tell you, well, she's not suffering anymore, you know.
Hmm.
They told me that
They do.
by right.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's not suffering anymore.
Yeah.
I ain't want to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah, that's right. You know, when they
I
do
don't want to hear none of
yeah,
that. It took me to
exactly.
lay down in my
Mhm.
own darkness
Yes.
and come to the realization,
Hmm.
like you said, God
Yeah.
only
Exactly.
allows us to
Yes.
see them for a season.
Yes. Uh-huh. It is. It's only
And
God.
yes, and
Hmm.
every moment of the time that Raymond was in my life, I learned,
Hmm.
I grew,
Hmm.
and now I'm accepting.
Yes. Yes.
And the purpose is so powerful because I had no idea when I started writing this book 2 years ago was going to be
Right.
something like a little self-help book. That's all.
Mm.
That book,
It's a,
it turned out to be two books, one for
yeah.
the guy,
Uh-huh.
the other one, the memoir.
Uh-huh.
All I could say was, look at God.
Exactly. And that is so true. That is so true because it's only him. Because without him, it would be such a, you talking about those lemons being a hardship. Oh my God, it would be extreme struggles, struggles on top of struggles
Oh, yeah.
if you
Yeah,
don't have him in your corner
you're right.
and to help you navigate through this. And that brings me to the point of, can I read this your scripture? Because, it deals with the comfort and the growth part.
Okay.
Because it's Second Corinthians chapter 1, verse 3-4, where it says, God comfort us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. So by you writing this book, it's comforting to you, but it is comforting also
Comforting to
to a
others.
lot of other people. It's going to help a
Yeah.
lot of other people.
And
And it enlightened,
understand.
yeah, it enlightened me too, because yeah, because even though I dealt with the loss and and I'm pretty sure, I'm still living. I'm going,
Oh
experience
yeah,
more
you
losses,
you
right?
go you it is a
Yes.
process
Yes, the
that
process of
that people have to
experience.
understand
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
you once you get, even with my mom and my dad, I got to the point where I put them in my mind, in my heart, where
Right.
where they needed to be.
Yes. Yeah, not
because,
forgotten. Yes.
because I had to know and understand that they may be gone from me, but they're
Yeah,
not gone for good. Because I can
that's
still
right.
talk to dad. He
Mm-hmm.
can't answer me, but I
I
can talk to
know.
him.
I know that's
It
the
is my
whole.
comfort that I'm looking
It's
for.
comforting. Yes, it is comforting.
Mhm.
Because I myself, I still, would talk to Terrell, but it's just comforting.
Mhm.
And, to those memories in that, he had such a beautiful smile. Oh my
Beautiful
God.
spirit, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and his spirit too. Oh, is the person, he never did meet a stranger. He never did
Yeah.
meet a stranger. So he was just that good guy, welcoming guy, and a strong black man
Mhm.
type guy.
Yeah.
As well as Raymond, welcoming, loving,
Yeah.
and strong black man. He didn't meet a stranger.
Yeah.
And people, come to him. People like him. People like being around him.
Mhm.
So, and good family guy too. You love family. So, yeah,
And
good,
those
good.
are the things, everything you just said are the things that we hold on to. you know, and
Yes.
those are the things that are going to help you cope and help you get through it. But
Yes.
our time is winding down. I promise I wasn't
Uh,
going to keep you long. So, of course, this conversation can go on and on, because anytime
yes.
that we can come together and lift each other up, and that's what it's about.
Exactly.
It's about
Yes.
lifting each other up. And I thank God that I am able to have this book to reach out to people, and people are it really, really been being very, very receptive. So I
Yes.
just want to say thank you, Adrienne.
You are so
Uh, we'll
welcome.
definitely do this again. And I'm just gonna
Yes,
say, thanks you guys, everybody, for
yes.
listening to her and
Thank
listening
you.
to both of us. Exceptional Talk with Dr. Clark. You all have a great evening. Until we meet again. Bye.